idea of even uttering the word self-care was a big no-no. It was selfish, and this is what I was told by family members. Your sole purpose on this earth is to care for that special boy of yours.
Self-care became a catchphrase that allowed people to make money off of you. What can I sell you? What kind of eye pillow? What kind of bubble bath? What kind of face mask can I sell you? And at the end of the day, it's just another resource that you're giving away.
So then when we are asking for help or doing things to take care of ourselves, we're feeling bad because we're supposed to be superwoman.
Say, oh, these things are going to help. Mm-hmm. Well, pot, meat, kettle. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not easy when you feel like you want to be everywhere. You feel like you need to be everywhere. And how do you bring your best self?
Every parent carries a story, every advocate carries hope, and every caregiver deserves to be seen. Welcome to The Circle, where we come together at the Parent Forge to share, to learn, and to remember that our voices are strongest when they rise together. One thing a lot of people say is put on your oxygen mask first. But what does that even mean? Especially when you're living in crisis mode and you're constantly in fight or flight. Go, 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 never stopping, right? And how do you even find the boundaries between advocating and taking care of yourself? And that's the conversation today. And today I have my wonderful ladies with me. And this is one topic that was chosen at the New Hampshire Advocate Conference in 2025. And so this is a very important topic because it sounds like a lot of people want to know about it. So I want to start with you, Julie.
Hi. I'm so excited that people chose this topic. So we were at the Advocate New Hampshire conference just a bit ago, and we allowed people to come together and actually vote on topics. And this was the one they wanted to hear about, probably because it's the one that either infuriated them the most, maybe, or that people really need to hear about. And it's tough, right? Just taking care of yourselves. So we found that, especially being in an advocacy conference, our community is there to talk about other people, to say what other people need. And that's what advocacy gets the rap for, but we don't talk about what we need, right? So advocacy is exhausting. It can take everything out of us. So if you're going to do that, how do you bring your best self to it? I think that was the question they wanted us to answer.
Being the elder of the group here, my son, as I've said in another video, he'll be 41. And life was very different back then. And the idea of even uttering the word self-care was a big no-no. It was selfish. And, this is what I was told by family members. Your sole purpose on this earth is to care for that special boy of yours. It's like, okay, I would have people come up to me and say, oh, you're so blessed to have a son with Down syndrome because they're all so kind and loving. And then I have to tell you, the first two words, he was talking a little bit, but we thought he was saying thank you. No, he was angry. So you know what he was saying? Yes, he was saying that. And so when people even today said, oh, they're all so kind and loving, he's going to tell you to F off at some point because he's just like anybody else. But the self-care part, I didn't learn until years later when I started doing yoga. And, I know this isn't a video about yoga, but it has literally saved my life. And I have tools that I can use when I start to, when I go into my office, close the door and go, what the, then I breathe and I start a mantra and I breathe and I breathe. And so I've learned that I am the only person that will allow me to take care of me. Yes. And so I'm over the guilt at 66, almost 67 years. It's taken me that long. But now I sort of kind of put myself first. I'm still working on it because it's still hard.
In wellness spaces, you hear this self-care word a lot. And I was being a little flip earlier and saying that it makes me want to spit. And it's not that I am against self-care. I'm all about people centering their own needs and taking care of themselves. However, self-care became a catchphrase that allowed people to make money off of you. What can I sell you? What kind of eye pillow? What kind of bubble bath? What kind of face mask can I sell you? And at the end of the day, it's just another resource that you're giving away. And it makes me cranky. And yes, I do sell yoga, but all my classes are by donation. But I'm also a yoga therapist. And so I get people in who are seeing me and they say, I want to make a change. I want to take care of myself, but there is no time. There is no space. Like I was in isolation with 3 toddlers. I was not going to be able to go out and get a bubble bath or a pedicure so how would I take care of myself? And what I teach them is that the first thing is just change your way of thinking. That instead of prioritizing everything about your children, you recognize that if you are not as rested as you can be, if you are not as resourced as you can be, then you cannot give them your 100%. You can't put your first foot forward. So sometimes it's little shifts. Like I would say to my kids, mom's first coffee is mom's. You can go play. I will put on any TV. Don't judge. I get 1 cup of coffee. That's mine. 1 cup of coffee. Shh. And then we'll do all the things. We'll clean the ports. We'll change the everything. But I'm allowed to have 1 cup of coffee. And it allowed me to say, okay, how am I today? And that checking in with yourself. How do I say this? Yourself as a resource, right? When you check in and you're like, what is my wherewithal today? Yeah. My bandwidth today, my spoons today. Like some days we have more spoons. We have more ability to take on bigger projects, to take care of ourselves in a different way. And other days we're holding on by a thread, and just bringing that compassion to acknowledging I'm holding on by a thread is self-care. It's knowing I'm not going to take on more today. Today I'm going to survive and hold myself in compassion while I do the minimum to get through today. And then tomorrow when I wake up having held myself in compassion, there is a high likelihood that I will then have more energy to bring to something else. So I think sometimes it's not a selling of a beauty product. It is a teaching people how to say, how am I and what do I need emotionally, and know that really we're the only one who can provide it for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
No one else is going to give me self-compassion or self-love.
You brought up changing our way of thinking. And one thing I bring up so frequently when I was doing therapy was that life teaches us to be far too humble, right? We're not allowed to pat ourselves on the back.
Right.
And sometimes self-care is not a thing. It's not going, like we were talking about earlier, it's not about getting your nails done or the pedicure or the eye pillows or, the shopping spree with a good discount or whatever.
Nice.
They are nice.
They're all nice.
And I do really love a good sale, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But
And a good pedicure.
And a good pedicure. I'll take all of it. Absolutely. But it can be as simple as giving yourself permission for self-validation and to recognize that, to just give yourself a few minutes to recognize where things are going well, or what did I do well today, or I'm here. I made it.
Yeah.
I've got this, and I made it through this day. It doesn't even have to be this major thing, but this idea of self-care being a big task or having a break, it can just be a shift in throwing humble out the window, giving yourself a pat on the back, recognizing you're here, you're okay, you survived the day. That might be the self-care piece that we just have the ability to start with, because it doesn't take a ton of resources. It just takes a shift in thinking and giving yourself permission to do it.
Yep. Right. I like what everybody's saying here, and I think I know we're not supposed to ever give advice, but I do occasionally. If somebody's having a baby, I said, can you just not worry about anything but that baby and you? Because it's like, oh, I got to clean the house, I got to do the dishes, and then having a son like Nathaniel, it was, he was all over the place. And, so trying to keep an eye on him. But, oh my God, I got to get the dishes done. So to me, looking back, self-care for me at that moment would be to hell with the dishes right now.
Right, to let go of those
Right.
expectations.
But then people come in and they're going to judge you. But are they? That's kind of what we feel. All these people are going to come in, they're going to judge me because my house isn't clean. And I wish I knew then what I know now, but here we are.
It's the judgment piece. And that's it's that piece of being far too humble, but it also goes into being so judgmental of ourselves.
Yes.
And recognizing how tough we are on ourselves, because I don't think that we even recognize how hard we can be on ourselves, and just giving time for that reflection and to say, let it go. The dishes, oh, well, you know what? They ate. Like, what is the opposite, right? Like, how did, I'm going to just look at the function, and the function is somebody ate to get them there, and I made that happen.
Exactly.
Like, I did that. Letting go of the judgment. My husband always says to me when I go home, when I was doing therapy, and I'm not doing therapy anymore, but when I was, he'd say, how is it that you can come home and watch all these people yelling at each other on TV when you watch them yell, you do therapy all day? And I say, because when I come home, I can watch that and I don't have to do anything about it. And I'm like, and you don't judge me, right? This is my self-care, to unwind and just sit back and not have to do anything about it, right? But people might have questions. It's my coffee, it's my TV, it's my, leave me alone and let me have my thing. Let me have my thing. And maybe telling giving our support systems the opportunity to say, like, to communicate with them, I need you to just
jump in at any time.
Jump in at any time. Leave me the heck alone and let me watch my TV.
But I think we don't ask for help.
Yes.
Of course not.
I mean, is that true?
We're moms.
So true.
Right.
I mean, any mom. I don't know of a lot of moms that ask for a time.
And I think that it's also because of cultural conditioning, because many of us have been conditioned to feel like, hey, if you're a mom or if you're a woman, then you should be. You should be able to do it, right? You should be able to carry it all. And so we are all trying to live up to a picture that has been painted for us about what we should be as moms or what we should be as women. So then when we are asking for help or doing things to take care of ourselves, we're feeling bad because we're supposed to be superwoman.
Right.
And we're supposed to have it all together, and we're supposed to have all the answers, and we're supposed to fix everything. Right? So I think that's also, so a lot of what I'm also hearing from you is it's a mindset thing.
Yes.
We need to change our mindset, because if we can shift the mindset, then it's going to shift how we are acting, because what we are thinking is impacting how we are feeling, and that's also impacting how we're showing up.
Easier said than done, right? Like, my husband is amazing. Like, I hit the jackpot, and I know it. Like, he is on top of it. He's helping with the kids. He allows me to focus on my career and is so supportive. Yet, if I go to do those things that help me balance career, home, and self, there's super amount of guilt. And he'll say to me, and he'll say, why are you apologizing? Why are you feeling guilty? And I'll say, I'll be home. And he's like, you don't have to report out. But it's still that innate, so I can sit here and say, oh, these things are going to help. Well, pot, meat, kettle. I mean, it's not easy when you feel like you need, you want to be everywhere. You feel like you need to be everywhere. And how do you bring your best self? I mean, it's maybe
but do you
accountability.
Have to bring your best self?
You were right. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
What is your best self, and why can't that shift? Day to day to day.
Moment to moment.
I
think for me, again, the shift for me happened, again with yoga, but it's having that mantra. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I have the husband, the cat, and the dog all in the bed. Sorry, anybody that doesn't like that, but my bed is very hairy, but oh well. A lot of love. There's a lot of love in that
You
bed.
shouldn't talk about your husband like that. I'm sorry.
He does
We'll
have,
skip the
he
love
has a-
talk.
he has a beard.
Sorry. I have
Oh,
to.
ladies. Where was I going with this?
Where were you
this whole
going
thing?
with
Where
it?
was
I
I
don't know.
going with
A lot
this?
of people in your
But
bed.
Your mantra, getting up in the
Yes, so I
morning.
get up in the morning and, kind of stretch, and I close my eyes, and I say, what is it I need today? And I just kind of breathe. And it takes a second or two. What do I need today? And the first, you taught me this, Lanta, the first thing that comes into my head, even though it's out of, it's like, what? Hot fudge sundaes. Okay, that's the first thing that, what does that mean? Oh, sweet things, or, okay, be sweet to yourself. Okay, I'm going to be kind to myself. Okay, and what is that mantra? Because we want to make it personal, present, positive. I am kind. I am kind. I am kind. And then I get up and go, I am kind. And then I'm like, nope, I'm kind. I'm going to be kind. I am kind. I'm not going to be, I am. And, if I get angry then in the day, and I go, I am kind. I am kind. Damn it, I'm kind. And then eventually, I'm kind. So, that's what's helped me, but it's still not easy. It's still not easy. I still have so much guilt about everything I do.
Nancy, you're making me laugh because when I went to my yoga teacher training, and I had all this guilt about having these toddlers, and I'd ask them to do something, and I'd ask them to do something, and I'd ask them to do something, and I'd blow up. Mm-hmm. Why won't anybody help me around here? Right? And I felt such guilt, like that's not very yogic. Mm-hmm. So I go to yoga teacher training, and I'm learning about yoga. And I realized that, there is a world that exists when you ask any human being in the world to do something 5 times, that you might be frustrated at the end of that. And so I stopped apologizing for blowing up. I tried not to blow up, but I would say, I am becoming frustrated. Mm-hmm. I am becoming upset. Mm-hmm. Do you realize that I've asked you this 3 times and I have a reason for needing this? And I talk to my children that way. And, at lunchtime, I would also make them take a nap. And I didn't care if they slept. I just cared that they left me the hell alone for 1 hour. Yes! And I know that that's terrible, but I had 3 sons, 3.5 years apart. And one of them was walking through some stuff. Yeah. And I needed moments. And so I finally had to say, I won't say I talked to them like adults, but I shared with them, we're home alone together. Dad is on a work trip. Mm-hmm. He worked away from the home. And I need you to go in your rooms and play quietly, read quietly, watch a show on an iPad quietly. Again, no judge. And I like dishes done. I'm a little bit of a freak. So I would go and do my dishes and do the things that made me feel settled in myself, so that when they emerged, which was usually only 40 minutes later, but when they emerged, I would be ready. I would be ready to do the next thing. Exactly. So back to that guilt, I always tell people, let the people in your life know very specifically what you need and why. Yeah. And then take it. When you can, take it for yourself. Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard. As you share that, it sounds like one key thing here is boundaries and learning to say no.
Yes.
Right? Learning to say, hey, I need my 40. Hey, I cannot.
For that? Could we take a pill that, you wake up going, I have boundaries. I'm going to take care of myself. Just give me that pill. Isn't that what we all want? Is that quick fix?
Yeah. But then we would rob ourselves of all the lessons and the empowerment.
Right.
And the perspective to, boundaries are different for everybody. Mm-hmm. And, you've got to walk through it to know when you've given too much of yourself away. Yeah. I'm going to pull you back.
All right. No pill.
But no, I mean it. I think, sorry, yoga again, but stay a non-stealing. Don't steal an experience or an opportunity from growth from yourself or from another. And I think that there's some real value to understanding that when you come to a place where you're like, I need a boundary, the work and the growth that it takes to arrive there is part of the journey. Yeah. And it's important. That's where you find that empowerment that you were talking about earlier, the credit,
Yeah, and when we do dialectical behavioral therapy, one of the lines is, I've done the best I can, and tomorrow I'll do better. Yes. Right? So if I just recognize that today I didn't, I can feel like I maybe today wasn't the best day, but I did the best I could, and I'm learning it. I'm using it as a learning opportunity for tomorrow. If I didn't have today, I wouldn't learn. If I didn't fumble, if I didn't, I know how to set the boundary better tomorrow. I know maybe, I'm going to set that boundary again with somebody else. But we aren't going to get better if we don't allow ourselves to have those experiences, which is really frustrating because sometimes we don't want to repeat, we don't want to replay, we don't want to, but sometimes we have to get to that other place.
And in full transparency, like the lunches came down because mom would melt down after lunch. I would be the one melting down. Like, I just need, so I learned to come to that boundary through saying, okay, compassion, you melted down because you were overstimulated and a lot happening and you'd reached you've been up since 5 a.m. and you reached the end of your rope for that moment. And then learning to say, well, what can I do that's more productive than making my children upset and making myself upset? What can I do? And then starting to hone it. So I did not arrive at the the lunch, with like had a brilliant moment and I'm the best mom ever. It really arrived through some ugly cries.
Well, I think
why can't I get a break? Those kinds of things you're really proud of when you say to your kids. Yeah.
Why me? Why me?
Right.
Yeah. But I think that
can I pee alone?
Yes, can I go to the bathroom by myself? Well, I have a golden retriever now, so that never happens. I'll never forget when I have Nathaniel's the oldest, and then 3.5 years younger, I have another son, and same thing. It's like these two, and I remember going into the kitchen and grabbing onto the counter and just saying, "Oh my God, I so understand how child abuse happens."
Yes.
And then I thought, what kind of mother are you to even think about abusing your children? So then I go through the whole cycle, but I don't think I'm alone. I mean, I've talked to other mothers who think, "Oh my God, I'm going to strangle this kid." And then you go into the spiral. What kind of mom am I? Oh my God, I have a son with a disability and a son without, and I'm just horrible. And then there I go. And I spiral right down. So the whole coming back to self-care, that's part of it, is recognizing when you're spiraling and what are those things you can try to do to get out of it. And and it's different for everybody.
Sure. For me, in those situations, I have my daughters right now are 5 and 8. They have
sassy.
They sassy. Yeah. And look who their mom is, and they don't fall far from the tree.
Yep.
So sometimes
how it is.
Sometimes part of my self-care is realizing I'm the reason they're like that, and having to say I'm sorry. So to other people, but they part of my self-care is having the conversations with my kids, like you were saying, and apologizing. Because I don't get it right all the time. I'd actually say more often than not, I'm not getting it right. But I can come home and it depends on what kind of day I had at work, or did I get home later, or was there traffic, or just the change in the weather. I'm coming home in the dark now, and I notice that my mood is different. Did they get ready fast enough for school?
Yeah.
And and so that we're just balancing what many other families are balancing. But my reaction in being able, I know how it impacts me. And then rather than just sitting with it and saying, okay, so, oh man, I'm beating myself up. Mm-hmm. My self-care is trying to make a repair with them. Mm-hmm. And sitting down with them and saying, hey, I'm sorry, and trying to explain to them what's going on. But that's part of my way of taking care of myself, because if I go with that guilt, it's just it's gonna be like the soda bottle. Mm-hmm. And it is, I either slowly let the cap off and have conversations with them, or that is eventually going to come to a head and they're going to be the ones that bring it out. I don't want that to happen. So sometimes it's sucking it up and saying, hey guys, mom's not perfect.
I think that's okay. Good though. I remember explaining to Nathaniel that I have feelings and too, and he understands that. Sometimes mom gets sad and sometimes mom is angry, And I'm sorry when I get angry. And I think, I don't know about you all, but my parents never apologized to me for anything. It was a generational thing. And I think that's huge. And I think even if you have a child with a disability, they get it. They get it. If you're, I've learned with Nathaniel, I have to talk very softly. I have to make sure he's looking at me. Because he's off, I don't know where.
Having big thoughts.
He's having big thoughts somewhere, but it's not focusing. But I think that's such great words of wisdom, is to be able to apologize to your kids and to yourself.
And ask them what they need.
Yeah.
Like, there's again, going back to that humble piece. I mean, like you said, generationally, I'm the parent, I make the rules. Well, I do. And what am I missing if I'm not asking how they heard that information?
Yeah. Right.
So what did that feel like to them? I'm sorry, like that situation felt really lousy to me. I got really upset. I was, I had a long day. I'm sorry it came out that way. In being willing to take a risk to ask them how it felt to them, because that is more self-preservation to not ask. That's not for them. It's for you. Right. You don't want to hear it. But that self-care piece is being willing to ask, because you're gonna get to a better place if you open a dialogue that might be hard and realize that part of the relationships are reciprocal. Yes, you're the parent and you make the rules, but you have to know your impact too.
Yeah.
I just had a horrifying situation. I guess it was about 3 years ago. My eldest son was completed his freshman year of college, and he gets home and he's being really snarky with everybody. And I finally said, can you tell me what's going on? And he's like, well, so-and-so's this and so-and-so's that. And I'm like, well, babe, if it seems to me if something's wrong with everybody, maybe you need to take a look at what's going on with you. And he said, well, maybe you weren't the parent that I needed. And I was gobsmacked. But then I realized, I want to make sure I'm really careful with my language here. My eldest son did not have any obvious challenges. My middle son is on the autism spectrum. My youngest son had this medical situation. And this son was a good boy. He followed the rules. He got to college and he had anxiety. And it took him out. Like, he failed to thrive. And it was brutal. And then he got home and he was frustrated and angry. And he said, I just don't think you ever knew that I was anxious. I don't think you ever knew that I thought I had to hold it all together. And so there was back to asking, man, I wish I had asked him, how are you impacted by your brother's situations? How are you impacted? And I was just holding on, by a thread, and just grateful that he appeared to be so easy. And so I had an opportunity, I'm going to leak again. I had an opportunity to tell him that I was sorry and to reassure him that I love him, that I did the absolute best that I knew how, and that I would support any kind of therapy or anything he needed to move through those areas. But boy, there is no book on how to parent, and you can do the best you think you're doing, the best you can, and it may not be enough. And I don't say that to be negative, but I want the parents out there to know that your best may not always be enough, and that's okay. It is surmountable. You will have an opportunity later to come back and say, that at least I loved you, right? Yeah. You know that you were held in deep, deep love. And I'm still walking with you.
Yes.
And so we've healed a lot with that, he and I. And it's a journey for everybody. I think it's important to remember the impact that these situations have on everybody in the family. And that check-in is so huge. I wish I had known that a little earlier.
I know.
Yeah. So
The journey.
on that note, it sounds like, self-care is not about getting the nails done, going on a luxurious vacation, going to the spa. Yes, that's awesome self-care, we know. But self-care is the little things, the self-compassion, the forgiving yourself, the letting go of the guilt, learning to say no, knowing how much is too much, how far is too far, setting those boundaries, giving yourself the time to just stop and pause and breathe. And that brings me back to listening circles. That is why we created the listening circles at the Parent Forge, because it's your opportunity to at least have some time in the week just to stop, pause, slow down, and check in with yourself. No need to show up and perform. No need to come in and talk. Even if you don't want to talk, just show up there knowing that it's your opportunity to slow down and breathe. So check out the Parent Forge listening circles at www.theparentforge.com/listening circles and sign up for our next one. And hopefully that will be the beginning of your journey of self-care. Take care. Thank you for joining us in the circle at the Parent Forge. If this conversation spoke to you, we would love for you to join our free weekly listening circle, a space to pause, breathe, and connect with others who understand the journey. Subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going. And remember, together we are forging strength, one conversation at a time.